Joe and Mel from the Strong Family Project, answering some questions. And this is a great one from Jennifer. She actually submitted 2 questions, very similar. And so we wanted to talk about this and at least chat on it for you. If you have any feedback or further questions, post them in the comments so that we can better answer the specific questions you have. Short form videos here. So here we go. How can I help my 13-year-old feel more confident in sharing his emotions without feeling embarrassed? The second question does add a little bit more. Actually, this actually adds a lot more. So this is good. My son is 13, and sometimes I feel like he is struggling with his emotions and how to communicate them. I stress that home is a safe space that he can come to me with anything. Unfortunately, I feel that the stigma that boys can't be emotional blocks him from feeling vulnerable. Anyway, I guess my question is, how do I make him feel confident enough to show his emotions without being ashamed or embarrassed? Amazing question that I will first pass to Mel.
I already thinking about a couple tactics. I think the first thing sometimes that helps to bring about the confidence in sharing feelings is having it be less confrontational. So whether that be going for a walk, so you don't have to face the person you're talking to. That can oftentimes help with that. Having a consistent time of day or once a week or whatever where you can come together and just be together. And sometimes that lets the kid know, hey, I meet up with mom for game night on Friday evening for this hour, and that's our time together. So I think that will give him an opportunity where if there's a time of the week he can depend on, he might open up. The other tactic that I think might work is doing a journal. It's like a back and forth journal. So you ask a question, they answer it, and then they can also add more, but you don't necessarily talk about it face to face. It's on paper. So it takes that stigma of talking about feelings or getting emotional, kind of takes that away a bit because it's reserved for the paper. And I think that's a really great tactic, either taking a walk so you don't have to face them face to face, or writing it down in a journal. So it gives them another opportunity to share their feelings and know it's okay too. And I'm glad that you have obviously made it clear that you have a safe space at home too.
That's an excellent point, Mel. And Mel has her background in social work, master in social work, and has done counseling for children. And so I appreciate those tactics and insights because it does make a lot of sense when you're talking side by side. Something we do with our younger kids is that they feel most comfortable in their room when they're all snuggled in. If we sit them down and say, hey, talk to me about this thing, they usually won't eye to eye. They want to be comfortable. They want to be relaxed. It's got to be the situational. And I think you're doing something very powerful with reinforcing that it is a safe space. They can be vulnerable and you can't talk about it. And that's that little gentle pressure and not forcing it. So you're like, let's sit down and let's solve this right now. It's creating those situations like the journal or like walking side by side so you don't have to go through that extra pressure. That is a lot of extra pressure to face someone. The goal of what success looks like to us as parents is that we get the communication and that they want to give the communication. It's not necessarily how and when on our timeline. So my only thing to add to what Mel was suggesting is to make sure that we have realistic expectations. And sometimes it's okay for people to work through things independently. We're going to worry about it as parents, and we're going to make sure they're safe and make sure that they understand that they can talk about these things with us. And it's okay to seek help. Absolutely, life skill, asking for help when they need it. And perhaps you can do that in different situations that aren't as emotionally charged. Like, hey, do you need more support on this project? Hey, do you need more? Like, you start to support them on smaller things, and then that leads to being more open and vulnerable with the bigger things.
And just be aware too that sometimes the feeling conversations or the more sensitive topics will come at inconvenient times. So if it comes up at 10 o'clock at night, handle it then. If you're saying, hey, let's put this up till tomorrow, you've closed that window. So if it comes up at an inconvenient time, try to stop everything and give it the attention, because the more you do that, the more they will know that they can share it.
Jennifer, doozy of a question, and I think you're on the right path. I think tempering those expectations and creating scenarios for it to come up organically will be very powerful. And I wish it would always happen on our timeline. Doesn't always, but it's great that you're thinking about it, being proactive about it. So it makes me very confident that he's in good hands. If you have any other feedback or follow-up questions, you can drop it in the comments below. Happy to talk about this a little bit more. But thank you again for raising your hand and being brave enough to submit a question and get feedback and try to grow this process with your family. They'll really appreciate it.